Just when we thought the Yellowstone universe had reached its peak, when the dust seemed to finally settle on the Dutton legacy, Taylor Sheridan does what he does best, flips the script. In a move that's taken fans and critics by storm, a brand new sequel has just been announced, and it's called The Madison. But don't mistake this for just another spin-off. No, this is the torchbearer, the continuation of the story we've been obsessed with for over a decade. With this surprise announcement, three massive fan theories, whispers we've been following for nearly a year, have now been officially confirmed. First, the Madison will pick up immediately after the Yellowstone finale, plunging us straight into the fallout, power shifts, and emotional wreckage left behind by the original series. This is where the true consequences of the Dutton family's actions will come to light, and a new battle for the land begins. Second, the casting has left jaws on the floor. Michelle Pfeiffer, the legendary actress with a presence as fierce as the Montana wilderness itself, will be stepping in as the series lead. Her involvement alone raises the stakes and expectations tenfold. And third, perhaps the most electrifying revelation, Kurt Russell will join her as the co-lead. Yes, the Kurt Russell. This pairing isn't just iconic, it's a bold statement that the Madison is going to be unlike anything we've seen before in the Yellowstone universe. This isn't just a new chapter. This is the evolution of a legacy, a saga that refuses to end quietly. Taylor Sheridan isn't closing the book. He's ripping it wide open and rewriting the rules. So if you're ready to explore what lies beyond the final ride of the Duttons, buckle up, because the Madison is coming, and it might just change everything. Let's break down what this means and what's coming next. This shift in the narrative isn't necessarily a red flag for 1944, but it does set the stage for a dramatic evolution in both storylines and creative direction. With Taylor Sheridan at the helm, we can rest assured that every casting decision is made with careful thought. And the fact that Russell is joining the Madison is no accident. His presence signals that this storyline is poised to play a pivotal role in the sprawling Yellowstone universe. But it also raises a crucial question. How will these upcoming series, 1944, The Madison, and others, intersect, overlap, or even challenge each other? Are we about to see a new generation of characters carry the torch of the Dutton legacy? Or is this the moment where everything we thought we understood about this universe takes a stunning turn? The possibilities are endless, and the stakes couldn't be higher. If you thought the Yellowstone saga was winding down, think again. The next year promises an explosive series of events that will bring even more drama, more intrigue, and more unforgettable storytelling than ever before. Here's what's coming your way. The next chapter is already being written, and trust me, you won't want to miss a single frame. Let me know which Yellowstone release you're most excited about. For those who have been following the Yellowstone franchise, the prequels began with 1883, which along with 1923, explored American history through the Dutton family's experiences in Montana. We've seen their journey from Tennessee to Montana, the founding of their ranch, and the challenges they faced, including tragic losses and family disputes. 1923 is still ongoing, but 1944 will continue the story from there, leading us through the Dutton family's World War II years. One fascinating theory that has fans buzzing is that 1944 will pick up in the later years of Spencer and Alexandra Dutton, showing us how their bond has matured in a post-war world. Or perhaps the story might pivot entirely, introducing a new, unexplored branch of the Dutton family tree. Another compelling idea suggests that 1944 will follow Jack and Elizabeth Dutton, raising Spencer and Alexandra's child, the next heir to the Yellowstone Ranch and potentially the father of John Dutton II, the man who would later raise the John Dutton we know today. The Dutton we've come to know in the original series may only be a glimpse of the larger legacy. 1944 could be the turning point in the Dutton lineage, the moment that molded the land, values, and people into what the ranch stands for today. Imagine a world where John Dutton's father was shaped by the devastation of global war, the scars of loss, and the raw resilience forged in battle. How different would the iconic patriarch of the Yellowstone Ranch be if his foundation had been built on the chaos and struggle of the World War II era? 1944 promises to take us deep into these untold origins, shedding light on the unsolved mysteries of the Dutton bloodline. We've got to ask, which theory do you think holds more weight? Could we see Spencer and Alexandra rise again as central figures, continuing their legacy? Or are we about to meet a whole new generation of Duttons, destined to redefine everything we know about this legendary family? Share your thoughts below. I'm eager to hear your theories and predictions. World War II is more than just a historical event in this universe. It's a defining force, one that reverberates through every generation of the Duttons. Taylor Sheridan has masterfully woven war and generational trauma into the very fabric of this saga. In 1883, we witnessed the lasting impact of the Civil War on James Dutton's perspective on life. Then in 1923, we followed Spencer Dutton, deeply marked by the horrors of war, as he carried the weight of those emotional scars long after the fighting had ended. It's clear that 1944 will continue this legacy, diving into how the Second World War became a pivotal turning point for the Dutton family, not just influencing the ranch's destiny, but shaping the very soul of its legacy. But there's more to this story than just war. 1944 has the potential to highlight a fascinating and rich historical backdrop. During World War II, Montana's ranches played an essential role in supporting the war effort, particularly in beef production. This could open the door for us to see the golden age of the Yellowstone Ranch, a time when prosperity and power were at their peak. But with that golden era came significant sacrifices. As men were drafted into service, the state faced massive labor shortages, forcing ranches to adapt in creative and often dramatic ways. This could provide 1944 the perfect opportunity to shine a light on the unsung heroes of the Dutton family, the women. These formidable women may have stepped into leadership roles, managing the ranch in the absence of the men, laying the groundwork for strong female figures like Beth Dutton in later generations. Then there's the shadow of military presence in Montana. With several training facilities established during the war, soldiers, conflict, and the danger of war would have inevitably reached the doorstep of the Yellowstone Ranch. Imagine the tension that could arise if a young Dutton returned from the battlefields of World War II, changed, broken, and struggling to find his place, only to discover that his family and the ranch itself had continued to evolve without him. If John Dutton II plays a central role in 1944, we could explore his emotional journey as a war-torn veteran, grappling with the internal struggles of reassimilating into a world that's moved on, while also facing the daunting legacy of the man who would go on to father the future patriarch of the Yellowstone dynasty. The emotional depth, historical significance, and generational connections that 1944 promises are sure to keep us on the edge of our seats, revealing how the Dutton family came to be the powerful force we know today. The possibilities are endless, and one thing's for sure: if 1944 delivers on the emotional depth, historical richness, and character-driven storytelling we've come to expect, it could be one of the most powerful entries in the entire Yellowstone universe. Are you excited to learn more about John Dutton's past? I'm dying to know more about him. As far as casting is concerned, we should revisit the speculations and leaks from behind the scenes of the Yellowstone franchise. Let's be honest, so far nearly every rumor about the franchise has been confirmed in one way or another. So it's likely that yet another speculation will come true for 1944 as well. We know Taylor Sheridan wanted Matthew McConaughey to be part of the franchise more than anyone else. However, it seems financial issues interrupted negotiations, at least for the sequel series. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of the road for McConaughey's Yellowstone journey. Kurt Russell, for example, was speculated to be in 1944, but ended up cast in the Madison. The reverse could happen for McConaughey. Behind the scenes, he's still rumored to be cast in 1944, despite the budget challenges. For the rest of the cast, we should look back at 1923. Given that 1944 is set just over 2 decades later, we might see some younger characters from 1923 reappear in older versions. Jack and Elizabeth Dutton are expected to be key figures, and Alexandra could also return. Which 1923 character would you most like to see in 1944? My vote is for Alexandra. The reason 1944 stands as such a monumental chapter in the Yellowstone franchise isn't just because it's the next prequel. It's because it carries the full weight of everything that's come before. It's more than a new series. It's a continuation of a legacy we've already fallen in love with. From the westward trials of 1883 to the roaring battles and personal scars of 1923, each chapter has laid the emotional groundwork that 1944 now has the responsibility to honor and elevate. Fans already know these characters, their hardships, their victories, and their flaws. That emotional investment means the stakes for 1944 are sky high. If done right, it could be a masterpiece that enriches the Yellowstone saga. But if it falters, it could signal the beginning of the end for this once-in-a-generation storytelling universe. Unlike the Madison, a bold new sequel that breaks into uncharted territory post-Yellowstone, 1944 is playing on familiar turf. It's revisiting a timeline where our hearts already reside. That's exactly what makes it the most critical release in the entire franchise. Where the Madison has the freedom to reinvent, 1944 must live up to expectations shaped by two powerful prequels and decades of Dutton family lore. It will either ignite a new wave of spin-offs rooted in the strength of the past, or become a cautionary tale about stretching a franchise too far. Taylor Sheridan understands this better than anyone. His storytelling thrives on generational trauma, moral complexity, and the ties between land and legacy. That's why 1944 has to strike a perfect balance between action and emotional weight. It's not just about showing war. It's about showing how war shaped the soul of the Dutton family and the ranch that came to define them. And then there's the question of timing. Right now, 1944 is expected to premiere in September, after 1923 Season 2 concludes. But here's where things get even more interesting. Sheridan has a long-standing creative habit of naming his prequels after the exact year they're set in and releasing them 80 years later. 1883 came out in the early 2020s. 1923 in the early 2020s as well. 1944 was initially aimed for a 2025 release, exactly 80 years after its setting. Now, with the timeline shifting into late, speculation is swirling that Sheridan might change the show's title from 1944 to 1945 to preserve that signature 80-year historical mirror. It's a subtle detail, but one that speaks volumes about his commitment to blending real-world history with dramatic storytelling. But whether it's titled 1944 or 1945, the message is the same. This series represents a defining crossroads for the Dutton legacy. It's where history meets destiny and where the foundations of modern-day Yellowstone will finally be revealed. The question now is, will 1944 or 1945 deliver the emotional payoff we've been waiting for? Or will it close the book on a story that's captivated millions? Time will tell. But one thing's for sure, the future of Yellowstone hinges on it. If you're as excited as I am to uncover the next chapter of the Dutton legacy in 1944 and all the twists still to come in the Yellowstone universe, make sure to like this video, hit that follow button, and join our growing community of fans who love digging deep into these stories. Thanks for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay curious, stay passionate, and keep the Yellowstone spirit alive.